This is a suicidally high line, and this is often the result from it. So why do so many top-level managers and innovators insist on taking this risk game after game? Well, when it's done right, it is one of the best defensive tactics in the game. When it's done poorly, you're basically conceding a big chance from every attack. So let's examine the high line. Two of the sides most insistent on the high line this season are Tottenham and Brighton, ranking 3rd and 2nd respectively for the highest line. They do this because it is a necessity for their favoured defensive tactic, the ultra-aggressive high press. Brighton and Spurs are 1st and 3rd as the most aggressive pressing teams based on passes per defensive action. Simply put, they allow the opposition very few passes before they put a tackle in. And this is why they're essentially forced into playing a high line. Imagine a scenario like this. Spurs are pressing their opponents high with their forwards and their midfield, but the defense choose to stay deeper to reduce the gap between themselves and the goalkeeper. This creates a massive gap between the defense and the midfield, one that means that if the opposition play one good pass, effectively the entire defensive unit is taken out of the game, and the midfielder now has time and space to turn on the ball and drive, with runners either side of him. Not good. So by pushing that defensive line high, they compact the space between the lines like we see here. So while yes, the opposition can still break the press, whoever receives in this position will be under extreme pressure and will be tackled before they can turn. Alternatively, they are forced backwards or wide, slowing down the attack and giving the defense time to recover. Put simply, pressing that high makes it difficult for the opponent's first movement after breaking the press to be a forward one, and makes it more likely to be backwards. The stats back this up, as Spurs and Brighton have conceded the fewest progressive passes in the league. And here's the thing, despite there apparently being so much space behind the high line, it is extremely difficult to find it, as it is smaller than it appears. Firstly, the keeper for teams who play this high is always primed to charge out, reducing the passing zone. Secondly, the defensive line still has a region of space behind them that they are able to defend. Pair that with needing an incredibly accurately timed run and pass, and it's a lot harder than it seems on the surface. But make no mistake, it is still an incredibly risky approach, and certain conditions must be met for a successful high line. Defenders must realize that opponents are likely to try the obvious pass again and again, and should be prepared to run backwards. So body orientation is vital, with defenders not remaining square on towards the ball, but instead being side on, ready to retreat when the ball is played. A key decision defenders have to make is when to hold the line and when to follow a runner. There is no hard and fast rule, but one of the best ways to determine this is the origin of the run. When the run is coming from the highest attackers, defenders are in much closer proximity, making it easier for them to keep an eye on the attacker and time the offside trap. It also means the attacker has a very small window in which to initiate their run before they are offside, and that they are beginning from a standing start, making it much harder to pick up momentum and get onto the ball before the keeper. The antithesis of this is the deep run, where the attacker begins their run well in advance of the defensive line. This causes two issues. The attacker will be nearing their top speed when the ball is played, making it easier for them to get on the end of the pass as well as leave the defenders behind. It will also mean they have a larger window in which the pass can be played before they are offside. So in situations such as this, it is safer for the defenders to give up the high line and follow the runner. But the biggest determinant is not the man making the run, but the player making the pass. See, if any player has enough time and space on the ball, at the highest level, there is a good chance they'll be able to play that perfectly weighted ball in behind, whether they only have a short window to play in the highest attacker who is playing off the shoulder, or a man making a move from a deeper region. So the best pressing teams recognize this, and the instant that a passer has time on the ball, the priority instantly switches from holding the high line to play the offside trap to following the runner, no matter how harmless the situation seems. Compare that to this scenario. The passer has time on the ball, but Spurs defenders still prioritize holding a high line. So a simple pass sees Isak get in a damaging position. When the man on the ball is under pressure, a high line is justified as the next pass is unlikely to be over the top. And if it is, the pressure means it will likely be overhit or underhit. This is perhaps the best example. Initially, when Joelinton's on the ball, he is under huge pressure, so Spurs are justified to have the high line, as the midfielder would have to play a low percentage blind pass. But as soon as he turns his man, that should be the signal for the line to drop. And in fairness, the entire line recognizes this except Romero. There's a narrow window to play the pass, and Romero being square means that the passing lane is opened up, and Udogie can only provide the pressure from the wrong side, leading to the goal. The final requirement is adequate cover. Third man runs and deep runs are some of the most effective ways to break a high line, especially if the center forward drops deep to create more space in the back line. So getting good cover, either from fullbacks dropping in to form a 3, or a defensive midfielder dropping in will help to insulate against that danger. It's a high-risk tactic, no doubt, but one whose total risk can be controlled when done right. What do you think of the high line? Drop it below. I teamed up with TotalFootballAnalysis.com to produce this video. For more tactical insight like this, head on over to TotalFootballAnalysis.com, where you will get a completely free 2-week trial and 20% off if you like the content and decide to stay on. And for your next video, check out this one, examining one of football's greatest tactical minds.